Morning everyone. Welcome to day 20. We are 2/3 of the way through, which is amazing. And I was just telling my friends here that today is one of my favorite lessons because it's connection to happiness. And this one holds so dear and true to my heart because I think for a long time in my life personally, I felt like I didn't deserve to be happy, or I would sometimes feel bad about sharing my happiness. If someone wasn't feeling happy or didn't meet me there, I felt like I had to kind of dim my own light a little bit. And then one day when I was in a training, my good friend shared this quote from the 5 regrets from the deathbed. So they interviewed a bunch of people on their deathbed and said, what are your 5 deepest regrets? And one of them was, I wish I would have allowed myself to be happier. Not, I wish I would have been happier. I wish I would have just allowed myself to be happier. So I think oftentimes maybe there's too much going on with life that we don't have enough time to even slow down to enjoy the moments. Or like I was saying, from my experience, I felt like I didn't deserve it, or I felt like I had to dim it down sometimes. So today's practice, I really want to focus on just allowing ourselves to be happy. We're going to be doing a lot of heart opening, focusing on the heart center as well as hips. And when sensation arises, maybe just kind of laughing it off a little bit and enjoying it for what it is today versus taking it too seriously or anything like that. So for today's practice, we'll use a bolster, again, couch cushion, couple pillows, whatever you have, and 1 blanket. If you do have sensitive knees, I'd actually recommend grabbing 2 blankets for a pose that we're going to do later in class. So starting with the bolster behind you on the mat. And if your neck is a little tight this morning, I recommend using a blanket as a little pillow on the back of the bolster. Bringing the soles of the feet together, and we'll let the knees fall out to the sides. And bringing the hips pretty close up to the bolster, we'll lie back. And then again, using this blanket as a cushion for the head. If you don't like having the pillow, you can always remove that. Bringing the arms out to the sides, palms facing the ceiling. And start to allow yourself to melt into this heart opener. Bringing to mind a time that you felt fully, unapologetically happy. Maybe it brings a little smile. You might even giggle a little bit if it was a funny moment. You might even have tears if it was a moment that you long for. But just allow the body to soften around that memory of happiness. And see if you can kind of hold on to that energy or call upon it throughout the rest of this practice. We'll take 3 more long breaths here, inhaling through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. Inhaling last time. Exhale, really let something go. Bringing the arms down by the sides. Pushing into the forearms. And then the hands will make our way up to a seat. You can leave the bolster and blanket or move them off to the side. It's up to you. We won't need them anymore. And we'll come to a cross-legged seat. Hands placed on the knees. Inhale, opening through the heart, reaching that heart forward like we just were, looking up. And then exhale, rounding the spine, tucking the chin to the chest, reaching that heart center towards the back of the room. Inhale, opening up into a seated cow pose. And exhale, rounding the back for cat. Repeating this 3 more times. Inhaling to open. And exhaling to round. 2 more times at your own pace, really following your breath, moving as slowly as you'd like. We have plenty of time. Finishing up your last round. And then coming up to a seat and walking the hands forward for a really gentle hip stretch here. Depending on how it feels in your body, you can stay with the feet crossed underneath, one leg in front, or you can even cross and stack the feet and knees. Releasing the chin to the chest. And then slowly coming back up to a seat. And switching the cross of your legs. So whichever pose you took, just mirroring that on the other side. Again, cross-legged, one leg in front, or stacking the knees and feet. Walking your hands forward. The side might feel a little different because it's probably your non-dominant side, and that's okay. Releasing the chin to the chest again, stretching into the upper back, and allowing the upper body just to feel heavy. Walking the hands back, coming up to a seat. And we'll move on to our stomachs. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, pushing through the tops of the feet. Rolling the shoulders down the back and pulling the elbows in, coming into cobra pose. And as you exhale, releasing down. Again, opening the chest and heart into cobra. And exhale, coming down. This time, maybe without the hands, pushing through the tops of the feet still, raising the hands off the ground, really feeling the strength of the lower back while the heart shines forward. And on your next exhale, releasing down, tucking the toes under, and coming to downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet here, bending into one knee and then the other. And sitting the hips low, knees come wide, coming to child's pose. Having the forehead placed down on the ground or a block. One more breath here. Slowly coming up to hands and knees. And all the way onto the belly again. Inhaling into cobra. With or without the hands, it's your choice here. And exhale, downward facing dog. Opening the knees wide, toes come to touch, child's pose. Inhaling up to center, knees come back to center, we lower onto the belly. Inhaling into cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Raising the right leg up as you inhale. And exhale, stepping the right foot forward in between the hands. The left knee will come down. We'll walk the right foot over to the edge of the mat. Both hands come inside. And then turn the right toes out to the side a little bit to prepare for a twist. The right hand comes onto the knee. We open up the shoulder and we look over the back shoulder. If the left hand feels like it needs a little support, you can always place a block under the left hand. One more breath here. Placing the right hand down, untucking the left toes and stepping back to downward facing dog.
Stepping the left foot forward on your inhale.
Placing the right knee down. And then again, walking your left toe over to the left. The toes will turn out at about a 45-degree angle. The left hand will come onto the knee and we open up through the chest. We're not pushing too hard on the knee, we're just kind of letting the hand rest there while we open the chest. Allowing that right hip to sink towards the earth a little bit more. Relaxing into the feet, the hands, and the shoulders. Inhaling. Exhale, placing the left hand down, tucking the right toes under, and coming to downward facing dog. Placing the knees down and preparing for puppy pose, which we did almost 10 days ago, which is crazy. We'll step the hands forward. Again, keeping the hips high and releasing the forehead onto the earth, letting the heart melt towards the ground. If this feels pretty open today, you may look forward, placing the chin on the ground. But again, if that feels too intense, just bring the forehead back to the earth. One more breath here, inhaling. Using the breath to calm the self down, even if there's a lot of sensation. Walking the hands back to center, opening the knees wide for child's pose. Bringing the arms around towards the heels so that the shoulders can relax a little bit. Walking the arms out in front of you again. Inhaling onto the belly. Opening up the chest for cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Placing the knees down on the mat. And for the next pose, I recommend turning sideways on the mat and having the mat long. And this is when those blankets may come in handy. So if you want to use blankets for underneath the knees, we're moving into frog pose. This is a pretty deep hip opener, so just be really gentle. So I'm going to have one blanket out long, but if you have two blankets at home, you might place one blanket under each knee. So opening the knees pretty wide as they are comfortable. And behind you, we want to keep the feet parallel with the knees. So instead of child's pose where the toes come to touch, the feet are wide and in line with the legs. And then we shift the hips back. You might stay up here. You may come onto the forearms. Again, if you come down and that's not supportive, you can always come up or place a block under the forearms. If you're feeling a lot of sensation here, that's very, very, very normal. So just call on that time of happiness again. Might be the same one from earlier in class, might be a different time. A time where you really just felt nothing but pure joy and happiness. And if any sort of guilt arises along with that, see if you can push that away and remember that you deserve happiness. One more breath here, inhaling and exhaling, walking the hands back up, bringing the knees back to center, and taking a round of cat and cow here, opening through the heart as you inhale, and exhale, rounding the back as you exhale. Coming to center and coming back onto our mat. And then rolling up this blanket here, because we're going to use it in pigeon pose to find a little bit easier of a stretch. Roll it up into a nice tight space. You might even actually fold it again, depending on where your pigeon's at today and what you're needing. So setting that off to the side for now.
Coming to downward facing dog, and then raising the left leg up on the inhale. Then exhale, stepping the left knee towards the left wrist. The right knee comes down. And whether pigeon pose is really cozy for you or not, use the blanket today just to have a little bit more ease. So placing it under the hip, again, if you want to stack it up and place more, it's up to you. And then rest the forearms down on the ground. Maybe the arms reach out in front of you, the forehead comes down. Regardless of where you are, just let the chin relax towards the chest. And I linked happiness with a lot of hip opening because a lot of emotions are stored in the hips. And oftentimes when I think of emotions being stored in the hips, I feel like negative emotions of fear or sadness, but there might be a lot of good as well. And if other things are coming up, see if you can balance that with remembering the happiness that does live within you. Even if it's been a while since you've seen that, knowing that it does exist. And we're just practicing reconnecting to it. Coming up onto the hands. Transitioning however you'd like, either hands and knees or downward facing dog. Maybe pushing the blanket over to the other side of the mat. Doing any movements you need in the lower body or upper body. And then raising the right leg up on the inhale. Stepping the right knee towards the right wrist. And walking those left toes back. Placing the blanket underneath that right hip now. Finding a little bit more of an ease in pigeon. And releasing down. Taking this time to go inward. Again, just using the breath to calm the nervous system, no matter what's coming up today. One more breath here. Walking the hands back up through center, tucking the toes under, and coming to tabletop or downward facing dog, it's up to you. And then sitting the knees down and coming to a comfortable seat. You can use the blanket. We'll end in a little meditation today. If you're wanting Shavasana, of course, just pause, take 3 to 5 minutes in Shavasana, and then meet us up for the meditation. And we'll have the palms facing up towards the sky, hands resting on the knees. Have the palms facing up so that we can receive a little bit of energy today. And ever since I heard my friend share that quote, I wish I would have allowed myself to be happier, I created a little mantra for myself that I've continued to come back to over the last year. And the mantra is, my happiness does not take anything away from anybody else. And repeating that to yourself. My happiness does not take anything away from anyone else.
One last time, my happiness does not take anything away from anyone else. Remembering that you deserve happiness just as much as anyone else. And if guilt ever arises around your happiness or joy, remember that it's really just going to help the people around you. It'll help inspire others to find that joy. And it will help create a deeper relationship with yourself. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart. Always know that the light and love within me is so honored and proud to witness that happy, joyful light within each of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. I'm really happy I got to share my little lesson in happiness with you because it's something that's really changed and transformed my life quite a bit. So if you want to share in the comments below those happy memories you called upon, or maybe how you want to incorporate happiness a little bit more into your life, I would love to see those. Also, if you post them on Instagram or Facebook, you can tag us at YOGATX, or I'm Emily Henderson _yoga. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.